Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of the Blackbird Grimoire. Welcome to the daily forecast for Thursday, July 11th, 2024. It is the day of Jupiter, the day of the hearth. We have a waxing crescent moon. We are in Cancer season, the Celtic tree month of Holly, Woodpecker season, Saturn retrograde, Neptune retrograde, and Pluto retrograde. Now for the details. The sun is in Cancer, cardinal water, representing intuition. The moon is first quarter Virgo, mutable earth, representing intelligence. Then at 8:55 p.m. Central Time, it does go void, of course. And then at 9:06 p.m. Central Time, it enters first quarter Libra, cardinal air, representing courtesy. Mercury is in Leo, fixed fire, representing ideals. Venus is in Cancer, cardinal water, representing frugality. And then at 11:19 a.m. Central Time, Venus enters Leo, fixed fire sign, and it represents to be ardent, to be passionate, to be fully invested in what you are doing. So you will notice a distinct shift of mood with anything that is affected by Venus. And then Mars is in Taurus, fixed earth, representing purpose. Jupiter is in Gemini, mutable air, representing questing. Saturn is retrograding Pisces, mutable water, meaning to redefine dreams. Uranus is in Taurus, fixed earth, representing renovation. Neptune is retrograding in Pisces, mutable water, representing a spiritual awakening. And Pluto is retrograding in Aquarius, fixed air, meaning to examine intentions. There we go. For the Saturn retrograde, it did it again, I swear. The day I sat down to record, StreamYard recording studio was having all sorts of issues, so my apologies for any little glitches and hiccups, and my thanks for you continuing to put up with my technical insufficiencies. Anyway, back to the planetary retrogrades. We'll begin with Saturn, which is reevaluating goals, reconsidering commitments, reclaiming authority. Then for Neptune, it's all about reimagining dreams, reclaiming a sense of mystery, reclaiming faith and magic. And for Pluto, it's reclaiming your ability to regenerate, reconsidering what deserves your energy, and releasing attachments that do not serve. Now we're ready for the moon phase, which is still the waxing crescent. We just have a couple more days of this. It's all about planning, brainstorming, and creativity. Then we have the Libra moon. The do's are cultivate human connections, problem solving, and cultural activities. The don'ts are romanticism, emotionalism, and manipulation through flattery. So our adventuring Jupiter has found an ally in the Libra moon, and its past may lead to a more people-oriented sphere. This could occur one-on-one, in group settings, or within and surrounding cultural institutions. Anything that is driving you back to reconnect with others and take your place within the greater tapestry of existence. That is where your adventures may be pushing you at this time, thanks to the lunar influence. Now for today's tarot, we have Temperance. Its keywords are economy, moderation, frugality, management, accommodation. We need the Temperance card to have greater influence in our world, more than almost anything else at the moment. Temperance is the exact opposite of extremes. It's not taking anything too far. It's not underdoing. It's not overdoing. It's having things that are fitting and suitable and correct. That is essentially what Temperance is trying to do, to where you are acting and reacting in an appropriate manner. You're making good uses of your resources, and that you are dealing with reality. You're not trying to manage things based upon, whatever dream of perfection you have in your head. You're just looking at things as they are, and you are proceeding accordingly. It's a very practical card, and I would like to see a more temperate spirit pervade our people just now, because goodness knows we need it. Now, today's Celtic triad, 3 things not easy to obtain when sought: a loan money from a usurer without interest, the pleading of a case in court without fee, and the dinner of rich food in a miser's house. So the cost of borrowing money really lies in the interest accrued. It isn't so much what you borrowed, it's all the things, everything you have to pay on top of that, that really creates the issue. And then with justice, I mean, it is a testimony of shame, because it really comes down to how much justice can you afford. And this apparently was an ancient problem as well as a modern problem, but it is so detrimental that courts become a matter of who has the most expensive lawyer, who could in a lawsuit or in a court case for the longest period of time, where who has the money is essentially who ends up getting the justice. That is just an absolute abomination. And certainly it would be worthwhile encouraging reform in this regard, because it shouldn't be a question of can you afford justice. It's simply you have come to the court to resolve an issue, and they do so accordingly. It shouldn't be about money, and I mean, really shame on the people who are keeping it that way. And then lastly, no miser is going to be indulging in culinary delights even for guests, because they would view it as just a waste. And this is the triad is really getting out of getting at things that do not necessarily have to be. I mean, it is within the realm of a human capability to have financial arrangements that are fair, that aren't needlessly taking advantage of someone else. It is possible to run a court and a legal system without it being about who is paying for their justice. And certainly one does not have to be a miser in order to manage their resources properly. You do not have to live a life of complete Spartan denial in order to be economical. That's not how it really works. These things are fixable problems, and it's a testimony to the deficiencies of people's character that they remain ongoing issues. Now, today's magical intention is the home. The color is purple, the plant is the heather, animal is hummingbird, and the crystal is green selenite. Every activity that we have in life, it really all comes back down to the home. So the home should be cherished accordingly. Even our professional lives, yes, we do them, and hopefully more and more people are doing work that they find satisfying, meaningful, or at least profitable enough to justify the effort. But what do we go to all that effort for if it's not sustaining our homes and our families? Everything should be very home oriented, because the home is supposed to be the oasis from the rest of the world. The rest of the world's carrying on doing its thing, but when we are at home, we are operating in accordance with our ideas, our beliefs, how we think things ought to be. So if something in the home is not as it ought to be, that is something we really should be giving attention to, and even using our magic in order to enhance those conditions. Now, for today's practice, it's Thursday, so that's the day for hearth deities. Also, good time to work on the throat chakra. Do you feel disconnected from any aspect of your Jupiter sign? That's something to contemplate today. Read up on nymph or Nereids lore. Create a spell jar. It's been ages since I did a spell jar. I really, for the past couple of years, have been into my potions, but there's something nice about just creating a spell jar, filling it with various objects, all intended to create a specific effect. And of course, you could use an old spaghetti sauce jars. Clean it out. Clean it out, and I would remove the label, and, I would waft probably some Palo Santo incense over it just to make sure it's properly cleansed. But once you do that, there's no reason why you can't use it for spell work. And if anything, that's a very economical thing to do. Who says that we have to pay outrageous amounts of money for our jars, when in the course of our cooking, we can get glass jars and simply reuse them? Good uses of resources. Now for our journal prompt. Have you felt more lethargic or more energized when attending to your usual household chores? Has your energy been affected by the weather? This is one, just hope of, touching base with you guys, having you really consider this yourselves, and perhaps making appropriate adjustments into expectations. I know in the winter, I tend to be a lot more in a flurry of domesticity. I get a lot more things done. I'm much more ambitious. I'm energized. I'm going hither and thither and yon. And of course, the more you move around, the warmer you become, which in winter is what you want. But in summer, particularly in July, when, the upper 90s and even triple digits are not out of the question, dashing here and there and going back and forth and to and fro and up and down and all that, that's not nearly as attractive of an activity. So I think it's good for us to occasionally reevaluate the manner in which we do approach our household chores, and having reasonable expectations and making appropriate adjustments. And hopefully, my hope is that I can encourage a spirit of people to do this. This is just part of the ebb and flow of the year. This is normal. This is natural. This is not an occasion to beat up on yourself, to reproach yourself, or to tell yourself, ugh, if you were just better at this. And that's something that I have found very sad, especially when I've talked with younger women who are in the process of setting up their households for the first time, mothers who are working really hard trying to balance very young children, still keeping up with the house, and somehow managing to still pay attention to their spouse. It's not an easy thing. And I've noticed so many of them just will tear themselves down, trash themselves, say, if I was just better. If they think that the reason why they're struggling is because there's something wrong with them, and it really isn't. So when we make these self-examinations, please don't be dragging yourself. Not if you are trying to make adjustments that are appropriate for the environment in which you are actually in. The idealized visions of perfections we sometimes have just work against our well-being in so many different ways. So I am begging you, basically on bended knee, uh, to not to do that to yourself, because that's not the intention of this journal prompt, and it's certainly not a kind of self-destruction that I would ever hope to be responsible for encouraging. So make your adjustments and don't be guilty about it. So that is what I, of course, leave your thoughts for me on all this in the comment section below. What you think about this, particularly as you're talking about seasonal adjustments and different things you're doing in your practice and ideas that you might have for daily practice. It'd be interesting to get a broader spectrum of opinion about that. So don't be bashful. And of course, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.